welcome back to the Emerald Office. Today I want to talk about a word that gets a bad rap that I think we need to bring back, and that word is should. I heard the term shoulding on yourself from a client first, and I was both enthralled by this idea of it's a pun. It's a great pun. But also, I thought it was a very interesting approach. The idea was that you should stop using the word should. The irony, of course, being you should stop using the word should, because it was a way to beat yourself up, right? I should look like her. I should lose 10 pounds. I should have a clean house. I should, be making 6 figures by now. And so we gave the word should a bad name. We stopped allowing ourselves to use it. And I saw this over and over again in things that other coaches were saying, in things that my clients were saying. And I think we need to bring should back. I think we need to recognize that there is a time and a place for the word should. So don't discount should. And I'm going to tell you why. The word should implies that there's an ideal. It implies that there are things that we should be striving towards. And it sets us up when we use the word should properly. I'll get into the bad things you can do with the word should. When we use the word should properly, it allows us to be intentional, because we have something that we are aspiring to. We have ideals that we are working towards. We have this idea of what the ideal version or the best version of us needs us to do or be or say, right? So, should is a vehicle for intentionality if we let it. Let's talk for a second about the ways to not use should, because I do think the idea of shoulding on yourself does kind of have some merit. I know people who have used the word should incorrectly. So, first of all, we need to be very careful about where we get these ideals, right? If we are setting ourselves up to use the word should to pursue ideals, we need to make sure we're getting good ideals. So, right out of the gate, we shouldn't be pulling our ideals from Instagram. We shouldn't be saying, I should look like her. That's not going to work, right? Because that's photoshopped and staged, and she has $1 million to spend on an entirely white kitchen. I don't understand how you cook in a white kitchen. So we need to not be pulling them from social media. We also need to make sure that we're not blindly adopting these ideals from others and their expectations for us. So if your first idea of things that you should be doing is based on what your mother thought you should be doing, or your mother-in-law thought you should be doing, or your high school bully thought you should be able to do, those are not good ideals. Over and over again, if you're trying to figure out if you're using should properly, the question is, are you beating yourself up? Because that's what we're trying to avoid. We're trying to avoid beating ourselves up about things unnecessarily. So that's your litmus test, right? No matter where you get these ideals from, make sure that you are not using them as an excuse to beat yourself up. Should is about a process where the attempt is just as important as success. So should isn't, I've adopted this ideal from somebody else's standards for myself. I should be able to do something, and because I can't, I'm going to beat myself up again. That is all horrible. Let's just get that all out of the way. That's not how we're using should. Here's how I would like you to use the word should. Should is your invitation to become more than you are, to grow and to change. So the first part of that is to be intentional about who you want to become. You need to define an ideal for yourself. When I do this with clients, it is about the person I would need to be to live in the life that I've envisioned for myself, to be the kind of business owner and wife and mother and sister and human being, independent of relationships, that I want to be. Who do I need to be? What do I need to do? What do I need to make part of my regular life? What do I need to enact on a regular basis so that I am that person? Because those are the things I should be doing. I should be working out consistently, because that's the version of me that I want to be. That's the version of me who has the energy and the health to do all the things that I want to do. So I haven't adopted that from some Instagrammer who says, you should work out. No, that is based on who I want to be. The second thing is, do create for yourself opportunities to reflect those ideals. Saying I should work out is not helpful if I never schedule working out, if I don't have an idea how to work out, if I have no place to work out, if I have not given myself the opportunity to make this ideal happen, right? Like if it is outside the realm of possible for me, because I haven't set myself up to be able to do it, then I'm not going to be able to ever follow through. So that ideal, that expectation is always going to be realistic. If I say that I should be able to drive 100 miles on the freeway to be the person I want to be, I have to drive 100 miles on the freeway. But my car can't do 100 because my car can't do 100. Then I'm only going to be able to not meet that expectation. I'm only going to be able to not live up to that ideal. And that's where we get the negative shoulds, right? Set yourself up to be able to follow through on that ideal, right? And maybe that means that you need to make sure that all of your ideals are in some way, shape, or form rooted in what's possible, right? These need to be achievable. They don't have to be easy, but they have to be achievable, and you need to set yourself up to achieve them. And the other part of that is setting up triggers and routines and accountability that is going to make it easier for you to follow through on these. Just like anything that you want to do, something that you should do needs to be right in front of you, staring you in the face. Just like my goals are written right here, I have reminders for when I'm supposed to work out because I've put that in my calendar and I've figured out what I'm going to do for my workout. So I've given myself the opportunity to live up to that ideal. And I also have created triggers and accountability and routines that are going to guide me into starting that. If I just said, this girl on Instagram said that I should work out so that I could look like her, and I don't do anything about it, I don't set myself up to have those opportunities, I don't create triggers in my day that remind me that I need to do it and that I have the time to do it, I'm always going to be beating myself up about not reaching this unrealistic expectation that is tied to nothing. Sure, it's an ideal, but it's not an ideal that I'll ever be able to live up to. So it just becomes a sink on my self-esteem. But when I intentionally define, who do I want to be? I want to be healthy and I want to instill that into my children. Okay, then I should work out. I should work out. And then I line myself up to be able to follow through on that. So it's not constantly an ideal that I don't live up to. That's when should becomes very powerful. I should work out because that is the best version of me. I should be kind and considerate. I should be patient with my child. And now that one, you're thinking, okay, be patient with your child. Yeah, we all should be patient with our children, but how do I set myself up to live up to that ideal? I set myself up to live up to that ideal by having things in place. So first of all, when I am in charge of watching her, which is a lot of the time, I have very few things that I try to multitask. And when I do, I involve her in them. And I have actively cultivated the ability to release the expectation that when I'm with my daughter, I will get things done efficiently. Yesterday, I organized my sock drawer. She wanted to help, which meant that as I put things into my sock drawer, she took them out. If I didn't know that I should be patient with her, because that's the kind of parent that I aspire to be, it might not have occurred to me to remind myself that it didn't matter if it took me extra long to organize my sock drawer, that ultimately my sock drawer does not matter to me nearly as much as being a patient parent does. I created the opportunity for me to live up to that ideal. I behaved the way that I should because I intentionally set that ideal for myself and thought concretely about what it would take to live up to that ideal.